I'm Rev the Roadie. I'm glad that you're here today, and we're going to be building a deck that wins without playing any attack cards. Today we are going to be using Blacktail as our hero, and one of the things that I love about Blacktail, it is one of my favorite heroes, being a Storm combo mythical hero. As with all of our Storm heroes, one of the cool things is that it punishes our opponent for not using attack cards. And in that same spirit, we're going to build a deck with 0 attack cards. That's right, there's not a single attack card in this whole build. To make this build work, we've got a couple things that we're going to need to do something really, really cool. And you're going to see that later on in the video, but the first couple sort of set up things that we need. We're going to need to draw cards, and we're going to need to do some chip damage. We can do those both at the same time. What we want to do is we want to make sure that we get a Flying Fortress onto the field. Since we don't have attack cards, we have a lot of defend cards, and we might as well get some utility when we're drawing those cards. So we're going to get Flying Fortress right out there on the field, and then we're going to start drawing cards. We're going to use Moonlight Burrower as an excellent way to both draw cards, but also to get that chip damage happening from Flying Fortress. In addition to getting us a card in our hands and maybe doing a bit of damage, Burrower is doing some extra work on letting us know what's coming up in our deck. Because maybe we want to take from the top, maybe we want to take from the bottom, and we can do both of those things in this build. Also, considering our chip damage, we have a couple of our combos that are doing the same thing. We have Electrify, which is punishing our opponent when they attack us, but still doing that little bit of chip damage. And then we have Lightning Storm. That spreads 12 damage out over 3 turns. 4 damage. It's nothing flashy. They have to deal with it or remove it. Essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to go infinite. Now, we can't go completely infinite because of the rules of the game, but we can create the feel of going infinite. We can make it feel as if our turn never ends for our opponent, and rack up quite a bit of damage in the meantime. There is some setup involved in this build to make this combination really work. It works best if we get Flynamo out, if we can get our Skyward Observatory, and if we can get our Mantix Vultures out. Those are all get us in the right direction, but the card that makes this work, the card that makes this deadly, is our Time Chambers. To really make this work well, we need to string together a combination of actions, and this can go a variety of ways depending on what we have in our hand, depending on what our opponent's doing, depending on what they've removed. There are lots of ways to string this together, but it always assumes that we're getting a boost from an activated Time Chamber and our activated Skyward Observatory. So we start this off in the ideal situation by playing a Mantix Vultures ability that pings for 2/2 from Skyward Observatory for 4 and activates Time Chamber all at once. It gives us an additional ability thanks to Mantix Vultures ability, and so we use our Flynamo for another 4 damage. Then we follow that up with our Chrono Angler to delve deep into the bottom portions of our deck, and we're looking for a defend card here. Ideally, we're looking for either a Lunar Shrieker or a Snowcaster Elder to be able to pop those directly onto the field and do additional defend damage, plus we get an additional action. So if we have one of those in our hand, then we can play another from the bottom of the deck if it's there, and then follow it up with the one from our hand. Now, we can't always expect that that's going to happen, but it's really nice when it does. And then we end it off on just another one of our defend cards. Personally, I like to follow that up with a Windseer. I like to look at their deck and take one of their cards away while dealing another 4 to 5 damage. It depends on where we're at with Time Chamber, obviously, for all of these, but realistically, we're probably on 4. It feels like we're always going to just keep playing more defend cards, but really, we only end up doing about 5 or 6 times at the most. So let's take a look at the full list and the cost breakdown. Here is our Captain Blacktail list, and as you're looking down through the list, you'll probably notice a couple things, one of which is that we only have 2 Thunder Slugs in this list. Now, normally I wouldn't advise going light on buff removal, but Thunder Slug is kind of a unique situation because it's a buff, because we get 2 turns and remove 3 buffs total Usually people aren't going to remove our Thunder Slugs, and if they do, frankly for this list, that's a fair trade for us. So it felt fair to go with 2 Thunder Slugs. We feel pretty safe. If we really need to get one back, we always have Warden of Time out there that can help us pull those back as they're removing buffs. But just 2 Thunder Slugs, use them wisely. Use them only if you think that something is going to be fatal to you. Don't throw your Thunder Slugs away on something silly that your opponent puts out there. Another thing to note is our Impressed Clouds. These are situational at best, but there are times that we might play a Flying Debris to help get some card draw going, or maybe we had an opportunity to play an early Tsunami, and as it's out there, Impressed Cloud offers us the unique opportunity to be able to build our board the way we need it to try and go for that infinite round. And so it's in there. We have 2 copies, and if we don't use them, they always end up, for me, just going into paying for other buffs. Now, I didn't talk about it early on, but Yukona Tactician is another one of those card draw cards that we have in this build. It's a solid one to have. It's one we like to pop out early, especially if we can get our Flying Fortress out early. Those 2 go well together, just like Moonlight Burrower helps us out. Yukona Tactician really gets things going on that chip damage for us. As you can see with the cost, this is a little more expensive build, more so than many of the other videos that you've seen on this channel, but it is a Captain Blacktail list, so anytime we're getting mythical heroes, the price is going to go up. Tantosian Blacksmiths may seem like an odd inclusion in this, but if we're going to get our Flynamo in, we really need to have a reliable way to draw those cards out. Plus, Tantosian Blacksmith is a defend card, and so if for nothing else, if we get stuck with them in our hand, they aren't useless cards, and many times they can be if our items are already in play. But in this, we're getting an additional action, and we're kicking off with a defend card to use our time chambers. So it has a lot of utility, pushes the price up a little bit, but all in all, for what you get, there's a lot of value cards that even if you build this for fun, you're going to use these cards in other decks. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button. If you like the content that you're seeing, go ahead and subscribe. It's a great way to see the newest videos that are coming out each week. Until next time, keep creating, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!